आजकल जो women हैं उनमें masculine energy बहुत ज़्यादा है and they have forgotten their feminine side. तो इसका क्या मतलब है and if this is true, तो what does a woman with high masculine energy looks like or feels like, what her presence feels like, and what is she missing out on?
We've lost touch with the power and the force that we hold and our strength, which looks different and feels different to the strength of the masculine, but is still strength. In my experience and observation, again, our strength is love. Our strength is the capacity to hold, harness, and share unconditional love because we are caregivers by nature, we are nurturers by nature. Our body has been designed to incubate life, it has been designed to nourish life. And that can extend beyond a physical baby as well. And where I feel like the circumstances around me are not aligned in my favor, I am still told by society that I must follow a certain life plan that is dictated by somebody who is not in my body, who does not share my life experience.
हेलो सैसी नारी, ये है लिटिल फिक्सेस पॉडकास्ट विद मी मैत्री, जहां हम बात करते हैं मेंटल हेल्थ, फ्रीडम, रिलेशनशिप्स और पर्सनल ग्रोथ के स्मॉल बट माइटी स्टेप्स की, क्योंकि बड़ा चेंज छोटी छोटी फिक्सेस से ही आता है। आज का टॉपिक थोड़ा मिस्टिकल लग सकता है, फेमिनिन एनर्जी। सुनते ही ना थोड़ा इंस्टाग्राम कोट वाली वाइब्स आती है, बी सॉफ्ट, फ्लो लाइक वाटर, और फिर हम सोचते हैं इस सब का मतलब क्या है? क्या फेमिनिनिटी का मतलब सिर्फ सॉफ्ट होना है या फिर कुछ और? तो इस एपिसोड में वी आर ब्रेकिंग इट डाउन फ्रॉम स्क्रैच। फेमिनिन एनर्जी होती क्या है, क्यों जरूरी है, और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट इसे एक्टिवेट कैसे करें बिना अपनी रियल लाइफ को भूल के। मेरे साथ हैं ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन एंड वुमेन्स विजनरी गाइड करिश्मा कपूर, who is all about heart centered leadership and soul embodiment. She is wise, warm, and super grounded. नो ज्ञानबाजी, जस्ट रियल टॉक। तो अगर आप कंफ्यूज्ड हैं या थोड़ा क्यूरियस या सिर्फ चाहते हो कि आप अपनी फुल वाइब में आ जाओ, तो ये एपिसोड मिस मत करना। Please help us bring more such conversations to you. Subscribe to Little Fixes podcast on YouTube and share it with a friend you care about. Hi Karishma, welcome to Little Fixes.
Hi, Maitri. Thank you. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be here. I've just seen glimpses of you doing wonderful work with this podcast, so it feels really nice to be sitting on the hot seat opposite you.
Yeah, I remember when I worked with you in June. It was an online experience, but it was the first time in the last 5 6 years of me doing those kinds of group meditations and things where I felt really connected. And since then, I had decided that I need to have Karishma on my podcast. And when this topic came to me, I thought only of you. Ki, हाँ, Karishma is the right person to do this. So I watched videos, listened to some podcast, and read about feminine energy.
Yeah,
कि रिसर्च करनी होती है, एंड देन आई
yeah,
स्पोक विद यू ऑन दिस टॉपिक।
yeah.
तो आई वाज ब्लोन अवे टू पुट इट सिंपली। और आपसे बात करके मुझे रियलाइज हुआ कि जो सब मैंने पढ़ा था वो शायद इतना डीप नहीं था, शायद थोड़ी और रिसर्च करनी थी। बट देन आई थॉट कि नहीं, लेट्स स्टॉप माई रिसर्च एट दैट पॉइंट एंड लेट्स गो एज अ लर्नर and learn while my listeners also learn from Karishma. So let's start by telling us what is feminine energy.
One thing before starting, and I think that will actually segue very beautifully into my answer, what you shared about research, because that is also, it's such an important pillar of feeling prepared and able to navigate through the material realm because we live in the age of information and there is no dearth of accessible information, of viewpoints, and of a lot of uh, opinions that moonlight as facts or as the truth. So it's really interesting to hear you say that because I think that that is a very strong quality or attribute of the feminine in my experience, in my embodiment. And whatever I share today will only be through my own lens, right? I don't posture this as the one absolute truth because there is no such thing, in my opinion. There is, of course, um, there is an interwoven, complex intelligence at play, but all of us are relating to it through our own experience, through our own perception. And I think that is where the quality of feminine or the energy of femininity plays a very important part in allowing us to experience that ebb and flow of life moment to moment, being able to connect through our bodies with what is taking place outside of us. Because our bodies are also made up of the same elements that nature is comprised of, because we come from nature. And I feel like feminine energy is a very, can be experienced through this connection to our breath, through our breath into our body, and from our body into the environment that we occupy. I feel like to a very large extent, that is something, it's the energy of flow in many ways. Um, and that to some extent, I feel like is a little bit, it's been rewritten. The understanding of flow has slightly has received some kind of almost inferiority, like some kind of it's been looked at through an inferior lens, or almost like it's a liability when actually it's a strength. Because if you are not present and aware in every moment, you're actually not engaging with life at all. You're only engaging with your idea of things, including yourself.
So, this feminine energy is called as the receiving energy. When I heard this word, I thought कि people always say कि women always take. तो I first associated a very negative connotation कि ये receiving energy क्यों बोला. Then I read about it and I tried to understand it. And now I'd like to understand from you a little deeper कि feminine energy हम सब में होती है, like whether we are man, woman or whatever we identify as. और ये receiving energy होती है. तो इसको हमें थोड़ा-सा समझाइए।
Sure, sure. Beautiful word you use, receiving. I want to take it one step further and add this word receptive,
Mhm.
because receptive again is, words are very interesting now. They are just these inert carriers. Like a word can and does mean different things to different people in the context that you use it, in the current climate, political, cultural, social, that you use it, economical even, and what history you associate with that word. So like you said, that it first gave you the impression of having a negative connotation, right?
Mm.
Receive, that it's almost like receive is um, has become synonymous to drain or take,
Yeah.
but that's not actually what it. So I'm going to rephrase it and recontextualize it, and say that the feminine energy or feminine embodiment, like you very rightly said, it has nothing to do with gender identification. It doesn't matter what shape and form I take. Every living being has a feminine and a masculine, because duality exists in this physical realm. So there is a masculine and a feminine, that when there is complete harmony between those two seemingly opposite sides of us, or the yin and yang, or the being and doing, uh, can we attain oneness and totality in the moment, and then with the moment, and then through the moment we can transcend that duality, right? So the feminine, when we come back to what role the feminine plays in this, which is being more receptive, which is possibly again with flow, it means you're allowing. So you are not actually creating a structure which the masculine is responsible for, a holding container. You are actually the content of that holding container, the force of creation, of destruction, of rebirth, of life and death. All of this is feminine. It's so again, it's not so much about, I don't want to relate the feminine quality with some kind of stereotype that men and women have received in society, because those keep changing based on who's telling the story, to be very honest, and whose interest it serves, because we live in a pretty patriarchal, male dominated society. It's a little, the odds have stacked up against us, because the mic has been in the hands of a man, or actually, let me correct myself, not in the hands of a man, in the hands of the wounded masculine, which is an energetic type or an archetype in the consciousness that represents as controlling, as dominating, as not being in allowance, not being in receptivity, being so rigid, so inflexible that it becomes toxic, that it becomes violent, that it becomes destructive, right? And the feminine also, when she's an imbalance, has similar um, negative qualities, because anything, again, in this realm of duality, there is always positive and negative, because they're two poles. So but that doesn't mean that they have to oppose each other, because the union of the two, or the center point of the two, or the melting point of the two, is actually where harmony exists. And I believe our work today, or the intention that I've carried into this conversation, is to just shed a little bit more awareness and light around the healthy feminine, or why the feminine is so important to embody for us, not just even as women, especially as women, just because as a gender we have experienced a lot of oppression, a lot of subjugation, a lot of repression, and a lot of violence, because of our force, because of the powers that we carry. But also for men and any other gender identifications, because they also hold this feminine energy. And to be receptive means to actually receive the information from a present moment and do use it to the best of your capacity to create a better output, in my understanding, versus showing up in that moment thinking you already know, or thinking you already have everything that you need, and not interacting with life, not engaging with that moment. So you're actually missing out on an opportunity to grow, to learn more. So that is primarily the yeah. So coming back to your question, I feel like that is what I would like to highlight when it comes to um, receptivity, and the ability to receive, being strong qualities of the healthy feminine. Because the feminine is, when the feminine receives, she can create new life with that, while the masculine can give. We say this, right, in a lot of our energetic practices. We do the hand of Shiva and Shakti. Our left side is the feminine, our right side is the masculine, which is Shiva. So I do this practice in a lot of my circles, in almost every opening circle, where your right palm faces forward and holds the hand of the person next to you, and your left palm faces upwards and receives from the hand next to you. So we all collect in this flower of life pattern. We connect our hands, our thumbs point left, and we consciously send energy from our right hand and we receive from our left palm.
Mm-hmm.
Because then what we are doing is activating both our Shiva and Shakti to come into harmony and work with their strengths, which for the healthy masculine is protection, is doing, is service, is structure, so that creativity can flow, divine inspiration can come in, new life can emerge, it can go through its life cycles, it can die and come back to life in a new shape and form.
These days a lot of people are talking about feminine energy, और ये भी बोलते हैं कि आजकल जो women है उनमें masculine energy बहुत ज़्यादा है and they have forgotten their feminine side. तो इसका क्या मतलब है? And if this is true, तो what does a woman with high masculine energy looks like or feels like? What her presence feels like, and what is she missing out on?
Yeah, great questions and so relevant. Yeah, because in the modern age, we've gotten quite skewed up, in our understanding of self, in the roles that we have taken on in society as men, as
Mhm.
women. And we become very identified with those roles, which is also part of why there's been a lot of imbalance and disease, modern day afflictions that never existed in olden times. We've seen them crop up, um, like an unprecedented increase in anxiety, depression. Why? Because so many of us have gotten disconnected from our core and confused the masks as our truth.
Mhm.
Stepping from that, as a woman, woman born into this modern time myself, right? I myself have experienced extreme um, toxic masculinity within myself and outside myself, because I was conditioned to live like a man to succeed in the world. And then to succeed, I would have to be better than a man. So, all because unfortunately or fortunately, the education and the awareness around women's strengths, because that part has just been erased from our history. It's like women have always been portrayed to just be these plus ones, or mothers, or daughters, or wives. Like it's like they very conveniently were put into very clean cut roles.
Mhm.
Black and white storytelling idea, this very binary way of thinking, when actually life doesn't work that way. Women are very colorful, just like any other human being, actually. But because we've been raised in a modern world that doesn't appreciate or respect feminine qualities as strengths, it doesn't see them as strengths, it sees them as weaknesses, because of the story that we have carried forward as inheritance, that women need to be protected, they are weak. that their honor pretty much rests in their vagina, because there were so many, the shame and all of it, that like that a woman must be housed in a more, in a way that's more precious than a diamond. I mean, things were blown out of proportion to suit the narrative of the person, to suit the storyteller, right? But in truth, um, there I do see, and in myself and in many people around me, and a lot of clients that I work with, and just as general observation, that we went into masculine overdrive to overcompensate for this feeling of lack and low self-worth, fear of physical safety, emotional safety, because we have been assaulted in so many ways. You don't have to rape a woman physically to strip her of her dignity. And this is, I think, the biggest um, foolishness that we walk around with, that a woman's, that everybody's trying to just protect a woman's clothing. But what about her spirit? What
Yeah.
about her mental, sanity, when you're constantly pulling women down, or you're constantly trying to tell them their place, show them their place? You're calling women unholy and impure because they're on their menstrual cycle. I mean, who do you think gave it to them? Like, where is your God in this scenario? So it's so convenient when God is used as a weapon,
Yeah.
So I personally have a very I love God, but it's only this year that I found forgiveness towards God, because God represented this masculine figure who was unkind, who needed us to fear him, who was constantly doing this transaction of, you do this and then I'll be pleased and I'll give you this. And who has created this? Man. This is a very ego
Yeah.
generated story. My experience of God is not like that. In my experience, in my direct experiences with source consciousness, altered states of consciousness, I experience this phenomena, or this expansion, this state of elevation, to be extremely compassionate, extremely empathetic, extremely joyous, blissful. Because why does anything exist in nature? I mean, why do trees grow? Why do birds sing? Why does a cycle of birth and death take place? For love. Like, there's no stronger analysis. So the same way, we as women were just taught not to love ourselves. We were taught to fear our femininity, also the force that we carry within us, that allows us to shed our womb. Literally, our womb regenerates every month, which is like a it represents the womb, or the void in the universe, which is responsible for creation and rebirth. So we have been taught to fear that because of stories, just because of borrowed stories, ignorant stories. And we have just grown up believing that to be true. And because we exist in a in a largely male dominated world, we saw the toxic qualities of men that were displayed around us, in our fathers, in our brothers, in our partners, in our neighbors, in our teachers. And we started to model those, because every child models, right? So there's so many influences that have impacted this. I mean, why this has happened is also such a large topic in itself, but I'm just throwing in a few rafts in this vast ocean. Because whichever way you approach it, like, that's a conversation in itself. But and what that has cost us, to come back to your question, when we try to become men, which we are not, we are engineered differently. We have different strengths. Men have different strengths. Like I said, Shiva, Shakti, these are archetypes in our consciousness. If we play to our strengths, which is also regulated by our body. So as a woman, for example, I'll tell you what it's cost us. When I'm on my cycle, I'm extremely vulnerable. My hormonal rhythms are not as basically, my body is regenerating itself, it's healing itself. And that is an emotional, mental, spiritual, physical process. But unfortunately, because of ignorance around the subject, and because a woman is laughed at in her office or considered weak if she tells a boss that I'm on my cycle, I cannot come. Or people don't hire women because they might, or they're a bit like hesitant to hire women, because especially if she's married or wants to get married, because then she's going to get pregnant, then she's going to take maternity leave, and then what? Men are just expected to power on as robots, which is also detrimental to their health. And we've
Yeah.
seen that contribute to so many breakdowns in men. The same way, but with a different looking, like in a different skin, the same thing has happened to women. So we've lost touch with the power and the force that we hold, and our strength, which looks different and feels different to the strength of the masculine, but is still strength. Like, for us, in my experience and observation, again, our strength is love. Our strength is the capacity to hold, harness, and share unconditional love because we are caregivers by nature. We are nurturers by nature. Our body has been designed to incubate life. It has been designed to nourish life, and that can extend beyond a physical baby as well. So it's not that a woman only has to have a baby to activate that part of her. I also grew up with a lot of these wives' tales, with my own mother telling me that you have to have a baby because it's part of a woman's natural life, and you'll miss out on something. Today I may of my own choice decide I want to have a baby because I find that my circumstances have aligned to do that. But at that point, or at any point where I feel like the circumstances around me are not aligned in my favor, I am still told by society that I must follow a certain life plan that is dictated by somebody who is not in my body, who does not share my life experience. So in so many ways, women's power and their ability to choose has been taken away from them. That disconnects them from their sexual energy, that disconnects them from their creative energy, that disconnects them from their sensitivity and makes them choose to become desensitized in a world just to keep up with systems that are set in place not in their favor.
Mhm. Okay. Very interesting. And I'm learning a lot so far. And Karishma, what role has feminine energy played in your life? Maybe you tell us a little bit of your story, what you used to do before you became a healer, and how you discovered your feminine side, and how now you use it or rather thrive with it.
Yeah, wow. I'm still discovering my feminine force. It's such a magnificent experience of rebirth that is constant because I was so disconnected from it. Like I said, I also grew up with a very critical, perfectionist, very indoctrinated father, very, very not a healthy masculine at all. So there was a lot of control. There was a lot of inability to share emotions, connect emotionally. We shared no emotional relationship. He was a service provider, and it was like he was my headmaster. So the only way we could connect was if I performed. So I performed. I'm also gifted. Like I was very interested in many things, and I was very ahead of my age. And but on an emotional behavioral level, that actually created a lot of anxiety because I grew up in an environment with both my parents where the feminine archetype was not healthy in both my mother and my father in different ways. So, and even though I went to an only girls' school for pretty much my entire life, the story was the same because I grew up in an Indian society that was pretty, it was middle class to upper middle class and quite well exposed. I was traveling internationally when I was young, but yet there was a myopic um, understanding of it was only woman and man body identifications. There was no deeper, knowledge of what feminine energy means, what masculine energy means, and how they could be used as skills or as qualities and as attributes to develop. So, like when I had my period, it was such a hush hush thing and such a quick thing. I didn't even know what happened really, uh, and I used to suffer from intense period pain. Sometimes this still comes back. So did my mom. Yeah. So anyway, in the 90s, right? I'm talking about the 90s. I'm 33 today. There was very less information on any of this, less awareness around this. And people only looked at women. Again, I said physical safety, but nobody could look beyond that, right?
Mhm.
And so I think this because we only looked at ourselves as one physical body and one physical body, man and woman, that created a lot of imbalance within all the other bodies because we are holistic beings. We're not just a body. So right from there, I picked up a lot of survivalistic patterning to stay to earn the approval that I needed, the validation that I needed, and to feel like I was valued. So everything was about external doing, not so much about enjoying the creative process. While I was very creative, that aspect of me was never nurtured. Even in my mother, for example, it was never, this used to be there that, acha, you all do nice things as a hobby, but then you have to go to
Mhm.
work and do the serious thing. So these are all, eventually, everything that we're passing on is a story. And as women, we carry a lot of this information in our genes, so do men. But because this is again in my experience as someone who um, you know, purges a lot for the collective consciousness because I work with plant medicines and because I receive this like sometimes I'm in experiences that are not mine in the transpersonal web, and I am crying, and I am just releasing energetic imprints, like memories that are not just mine. Sometimes they've been my mother, sometimes they've just been for collective womankind. Because there's so much suffering in our history, so much suffering in our bloodline. And that also unconsciously, I think, contributes to a lot of how our personality developed, or maybe for me, I can't say for sure, but my conditioning definitely impacted that. So I grew up as a man. Like I used to joke about this, that I could have gone any one way, because I felt so androgynous in myself, in the sense that I always felt like I don't really connect so strongly with either being a man or a woman, because my consciousness, I could feel myself as a consciousness more than I could connect to my body. And also I was going through a lot of body image issues. Like I had developed a lot of symptoms growing up as a child, because I used to think so differently from the people around me, and I had no outlets to share that with. So I had held everything in, and then my body created symptoms, and my mental, emotional health, like everything was turbulent, because I could not attune myself to the environment, and the environment could not attune itself to me. So there was this sense of disassociation, which helped those survivalistic codes stay. And then I worked in, these very cutthroat industries. I spent the last 7 years in advertising. I mean, not the last 7 years, 7 years before the last 3 years that I fully dedicated my life to my purpose, my path. But until then, I was suffering so much, because while I was very good at the process, because I have a lot of energy, I'm a producer naturally, I love creating, I'm a creative producer, executive producer, marketing producer, like all of these skill sets as a woman, as feminine qualities, right? Creativity, inspiration, flow, um, emotional, like empathy, all of these things, people management, all of this came very naturally to me. But the outcome that I was doing it, the outcome that it created, which was just spreading more rubbish in the world through advertising, was not sitting well with me. And the kind of patriarchal, I mean, the kind of, I met some beautiful humans, and I met some very, very unconscious, ignorant people, that never let me feel safe in myself as a woman. I never had women role models who were actually healthy. They were all also displaying a lot of toxic masculine traits in the industry. And so there were many, many factors that contributed to me finally deciding that I will follow my path. But since then, I have felt the awakening of the feminine, or the awakening of Shakti within me, as the ability to hold space for myself, for the incredible amount of emotional energy that can move through me, that gives me information about my truth, that gives me information on how to create healthy relationships, how to nurture them, that comes from a place of intuition, that comes from a place of higher wisdom, and that comes from a place of wanting to make an impact. So I'm still doing as much as I was doing, let's say, in the eyes, but now I'm not doing it in the same with the same feeling, because with the masculine, there's this need to compete, there's this need to constantly, you're building up comparison, there's unhealthy, like it's very testosterone fueled, it can be very primal. But I think with women, we bring this, or with femininity, there's a higher level of consciousness that comes in, a more unity consciousness, because we can feel so much, and that is a superpower. So can men who are connected to their feminine, who have a healthy feminine. But I think with women, we have a little bit of a leverage, because we have to be that way so that we can hold life inside of us. Which doesn't mean that everybody who becomes a mother is actually tapped into their feminine, because I know a lot of people in this modern, a lot of women who really suffer from low libido, who suffer from chronic stress, hair fall, gut issues, mood irregularities, cluster headaches. Yeah, and there could be more symptoms of this, because they can't stop. They feel like they have to keep going. Otherwise, there's this fear that you will be left behind, that, the world will not take you seriously.
जो विमेन होती हैं, उनमें फेमिनिन एनर्जी ज़्यादा होती है और जो मेन होते हैं, उनमें मैस्कुलिन एनर्जी ज़्यादा होती है या फिर वी हैव ऑल हैव सम 50-50 रेशियो और डू वी नीड टू हैव अ सर्टेन रेशियो कि हाँ, इतना आपको फेमिनिन होना ही चाहिए और इतना मैस्कुलिन होना चाहिए जिससे कि आप एक बैलेंस लाइफ जी पाओ या फिर ग्रो कर पाओ एज़ अ पर्सन?
To the best of my knowledge, I can't say that there would be 50-50 ratio as such. But what I would actually, what I would like to offer to that question is a simple visualization. Okay, I want everyone to just close their eyes and visualize the yin and yang, the circle, right? It's
Mhm.
the proportion of yin energy and yang energy, the proportion of light and dark is the proportion, or is the amount of masculine and feminine energy in a whole at any time, whatever numerical statistic you want to give it. I'm not, my math is not one of my leading strengths, but that's also just qualitative data. It gives the mind something to like chew on and be like, yes, I figured it out. But actually, it's a felt experience. It's the felt experience of being like, okay, I feel like I'm in harmony because in this situation I need to draw boundaries. That's my masculine. Can I do that without feeling guilt, without feeling shame, without feeling afraid? My voice is not coming out, my heart is palpitating because I want to say no right now because I can't, this is not serving me. But now all my conditioning is coming up and being like, if I say no, this person is going to judge me, they might not call me tomorrow, they might not understand me. Right now, that is a very beautiful display of, is your masculine healthy enough to create the protection for you when you need it, not because you're trying to make a point to someone else, right? Sometimes you're not saying no because you want, I don't know, to show someone how important you are. You just need to do something else for yourself, right? And in the same, so, and for the feminine, it's like, oh, I really want to dance. I'm in this setting and this music is beautiful, but I'm scared to move my body because what will people think? You know, that auntie had said this and my mother had said this and my boyfriend will get jealous, and or I'm doing something wrong because of course if a man is attracted to a woman, the woman must have done something. So there's so much of this like rubbish that has been given to us as old newspaper information that we need to constantly upgrade, right? So that we can feel within us that we are able to dance just like the yin and yang moves. It's not a straight line, it's never a rigid line, it's flow because they converge in the center, they become one. And from one they move and they dance because every situation requires you to sometimes be a little more active and some requires you to be a little more passive, and that's the dance of life. So when you are in sync with your internal energy and you can understand that, or you feel like you're really showing up as an embodiment of feeling safe in your feminine, feeling safe in your masculine, then you are also dancing with life and nothing is ever feeling too much. And if it is, then you'll draw a boundary and you'll course correct. And how do you become aware of that? That's where upgrading our overall software, understanding this, to understand these concepts, like you said, research, right? We can do research, we can read so many of these things, but that doesn't mean that we become that. It doesn't mean, like, we all know what the meaning of freedom is, right?
Mhm.
You can say you're free 10 times a day, you can chant affirmations in the mirror, you can write post-its everywhere, and let's say you want to say I am free, I don't have to smoke cigarettes anymore. Until you identify the root cause of what is making you smoke cigarettes, usually it's some kind of self-sabotaging pattern, some self-harm that's looped in with some part of you that you don't like. Maybe I'm throwing in one um, possibility, right?
Mhm.
There could be many reasons to it, but until we're not able to see ourselves outside of the story that we are and that we are carrying forward, we will not be able to shift our internal chemistry, our internal energy. And that's where these practices, like you attended the container with me in June, or more of this work that I do with people, is to help you rise above the ancestry, the genetics, the cultural conditioning, the social conformity, the influences of your primary caregivers, just the parts of those, not all of it is bad, but the parts of those that are not suiting you now, they're not suiting your story, your understanding of self, the time that you're living in. It helps you remove that so that you can start to integrate the understanding of these topics, like what does it really mean to embody the feminine and feel safe in that in this modern world.
Mhm.
How can you
Yeah.
harness the powers that you have as a woman, because being a woman is a very powerful thing.
Mhm. Yes. So, Karishma, this was actually my next question. Ki how do we harness our feminine energy, or how it is said, step into our feminine power, feminine era? So, how do we
Yeah,
do that?
I feel like, what's coming up for me very strongly, and this has been in my own experience as well, is first of all to start um, meeting other women who are on this path of raising this question, women who are sitting with this question, because there's no one right answer. Different different strokes for different folks, like some women will find it easier based on who they believe they are and what they're caring about themselves to enter through certain practices and modalities. And for others, it will be different because everybody's impacted differently, right? From the culture they come from and so many other layers. But what's important is community, because this is not something for one woman to do alone. Because one very toxic and poisonous thought and belief system that has been implanted in us in this patriarchal world, has been competition between women. It's like divide and rule, what the British did with India to colonize. We've also been colonized in that way because women are, imagine the force of one woman multiplied into every woman coming together, because each woman is unique, each woman is so beautiful, there is biodiversity. But we have been taught to compete for men's affection, we have been taught to compete and dilute our power and the strength that comes from supporting each other. Because when we come together, we also learn by example, we lead by example. So for example, if you just start like a weekly and also for women, sorry, before I move on to what you can do, I'll also just emphasize this point. For women, working with earth, working with their bodies, coming into feeling states is very important, because that activates our depth, it activates more of the knowledge that we already contain for ourselves. So it's not like you create a women's circle to learn things about you that you didn't already know. You just create these containers of safety, of healing, of transformation with other sisters who are willing to do the work, so that you can mirror off one another's experiences, and you can do shared practices, tools, modalities to strengthen what you are already feeling, to release what you no longer need. So you can do that through guided experts, like um, specific meditations, a lot of embodiment to activate our throat. For women, especially, it's our heart and our throat that can be really blocked, especially our throat, because our voice was cut off, because the narrative changed historically, where the whole perception of women changed. So we can't speak for ourselves. There's so many count. I mean, there's an innumerable amount of women in India who cannot speak up in front of in their family. Forget outside. They cannot even express their needs. They may not even know what their needs are because they're so disconnected from it. So first
Mm.
of all, the first step to coming back into embracing our femininity is coming together for support, because you as one individual woman in a household that is all ruled by patriarchy will find it very hard to start changing anything. But if you have a group of people, a group of women who share the same intention, then you all can keep supporting each other to grow. And then you all will be able to magnetize what you need in terms of healers, in terms of therapists, in terms of facilitators, spaces. The world is your oyster. But the first thing is to listen, I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not safe. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not enough, that being a woman is makes me weak somehow, that I only have to be confined to these roles. Just some things off the top of my head are singing, chanting, painting, like creative expressions, dancing. Women have been genetically engineered, like bioengineering makes us creatures of beauty. The female species is always the more beautiful one. Actually, that's not true. I think it's the male.
Hmm.
It's the
Yeah,
male
mostly
in
that's the
nature.
male.
Yeah, to attract the female. Correct,
Yeah.
correct. But I just think in the human species, women are just more beautiful. I find women way more attractive than most men, because there's also a depth to us. Energy flows through us with so much ease and grace if we allow it to. So I feel like if every woman will know what she is feeling called to, they will have different expressions. It could be poetry, it could be sculpting, but a woman has to create, she has to give life. So that is what I invite women to do as the first step towards embodying a healthy feminine, is give themselves permission to create something just for the process and the joy of creating, without being judgmental about the outcome. So it's not to receive something, it's not
Very
transactional.
important. Yeah.
It's just your date with yourself to explore with curiosity your own talents, your own. You don't even know what you're capable of doing. You don't even know what you really like until you start somewhere. And then you could discover, what it is that you want. Like I had a client recently who is a corporate system. And I'm not saying that you can't coexist in the world, right? Not everybody has to, you don't have to choose one thing. That's also the beauty, that today we don't have to believe that you can only have one or the other. You can have it all.
Mm. Yeah.
And that is my personal mission. I want it all. And I am building my life in a way that I can have it all. Doesn't mean I'm in perfect flow all the time. Sometimes I'm like, oh, too much of this has happened. Okay, now too much of that has happened. So you're constantly awake. You're constantly dancing. There's no perfect state of, nirvana that you're going to come and reach unless you sit under a tree. But if you're not choosing to do that, if you're not choosing to give up the householder life, then you have to find a way to really enjoy the adversity and the challenges that life is going to throw at you, because nothing outside of you is in your control. So in that sense, or in that context, I feel like it's really important to just start exploring what excites you. So I was sharing the example of this client that she's in this corporate setup, but she discovered that she has a talent for singing and she really enjoys it. It's what gives her, it what brings her into the present moment. It's a meditation, it's a sadhana, it's a connection to source, it's a gift. But she was struggling with so many belief systems, so much limitation in her mind, so much fear that has been, just taken on by her family, by her society, by culture, through movies, through magazines, through, you innocently read something, but it stays with you. We're very receptive, all of us, without even the feminine thing. That's part of how we learn and grow, right? um so we've had this beautiful process of her connecting to her femininity and finding the courage to go out and sing. Whether it's going to become a career, whether it's going to allow her to quit her corporate job and then earn her what she needs, it could happen. Maybe it couldn't happen. Now that's her destiny. That's karma. That's how willing she is. That's how many other things align. I'm not God, I can't dictate that. But what I can say with certainty is the feeling of fulfillment that she feels, the feeling of beauty that she feels when she's able to just share her gifts and be appreciated for them. Because also, we are very lucky that we are in 2023 having this conversation. It's also not a coincidence that we're having this conversation right now, because this topic is emerging. The call is becoming stronger, because damaged women and damaged men cannot make a healthy society. The world is only going to, if we need the world to change, we're going to have to elevate our own life condition, which means we're going to have to bring ourselves into harmony before we can expect that outside of us. Which means these roles that we have gotten so identified with will have to collapse and give more room for feminine and masculine to play with each other, to inform each other, and to work with each other instead of becoming two rigid separates, which is how most of us act when we say, I'm a man and I'm a woman. And then what about everyone else who identifies differently?
Yeah, I think having to create something out of your interests, out of your hobbies, कि जो चीज़ आपको अच्छी लगती है उसको अपना करियर बनाओ, राइट? मुझे कई बार लगता है कि ये भी काफ़ी मैस्कुलिन एनर्जी है कि हाँ, उससे मुझे अर्न करना है, उससे मुझे अपने आप के लिए प्रोवाइड करना है, दूसरों के लिए प्रोवाइड करना है एंड वी स्टॉप एन्जॉयिंग आवर ओन हॉबीज़ बिकॉज़ हमें लगता है कि अच्छा इससे तो कुछ बेनिफिट हो ही नहीं रहा है, लाइक आई एम द प्राइम एग्जांपल ऑफ दैट। तो आई कैन टोटली रिलेट विद दैट एज़ यू सेड कि कुछ क्रिएट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है टू बी इन योर
Yeah.
फेमिनिन एलिमेंट।
Yeah. Just for the joy of it. And just to
एग्री।
please
हुँ।
yourself. Thank you for actually saying that, because that reminded me of something that women self pleasure is also very important. And I don't only mean this sexually, I mean that when we create, right, whether you cook something, whether you write a letter for someone that you love, whenever you do any kind of external creative acts, you are also receiving pleasure. You
हुँ, हुँ।
cannot feel feminine without being able to appreciate pleasure. And when you're not in the moment and you're constantly running and doing and in that toxic masculine, you are completely disconnected from pleasure of food, pleasure of like all your senses, the five senses that give you the information that you then create, which, because everyone's pleasure meter is different. What gives one person pleasure to one degree might not to the other. But this is also where our body and sexuality ties in, because as a woman you need to be present to feel pleasure. That's why women function differently than men when it comes to receiving pleasure, giving pleasure, having an orgasm, because we're wired differently. So that's also so important. If a woman is always in her head and she's always in her masculine, she cannot receive, she cannot enjoy pleasure.
So Karishma, you said कि have a group with like-minded women and also create. Are there any other things that we as women can do?
I think become curious about yourself as a woman. Become curious about your body. Become curious about what you enjoy. Learn to please yourself by activating and harnessing all five of your senses. So it could mean that treat yourself to good food that you enjoy. Discover what your culinary palate is. discover what kind of clothing expression you like, play with that a little bit, experiment, um, surround yourself with like beautiful smell, like create a beautiful smelling environment, light incense sticks, candles, get like beautiful oils and lotions, make yourself a bath from time to time, really treat yourself as a lover, and then explore your body, even self pleasure. But first of all, that's still such a stigma in our mind. I'm saying before that, at least first start working with your everyday life, because we don't think we deserve that as women. Also, because we are always thinking about giving. But women is also, like we said at the beginning, it's about receptivity, it's about receiving. And it's there's nothing to feel guilty about. That's also a very twisted narrative that woman's role is to just keep giving and martyr herself in the process. And
Mhm.
that's a good woman. That's just a very convenient Hindi soap opera that ran and got great TRPs or whatever. But that's not how real life works. That's not how real women work. So
Mhm.
it's like forget that that's a woman or a man. Let's just focus on that feminine part of me that wants to feel pleasure, give herself pleasure, himself, herself, whatever, themselves pleasure, but just really treat themselves as a temple. Yes, treat yourself as a temple. Every day, create a ritual that allows you to worship this temple and the God that you are part of, before doing any of these like absent minded rituals and things and stuff like that, like
Mhm.
in public, in the sense of instead of before you pledge yourself to some doctrined faith, first remember that you come from God. You are part of God and God is part of you. So learn to honor your own self.
We all have to agree in this world, and I think it's going to be the same way, going to be the same for a very long long time. और जैसे आपने कॉर्पोरेट का बोला कि उसमें अलग तरीके का सिनेरियो होता है, बट वी ऑल्सो हैव टू कीप आवर फेमिनिटी अलाइव, बिकॉज उसमें तो आपको रहना ही पड़ेगा, चाहे आप कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में हो चाहे आप फ्रीलांसर हो, यू ऑलवेज हैव टू बी अराउंड मैस्कुलिन एनर्जी, एंड आपकी जो फेमिनिन एनर्जी है वो डिप्लीट होती रहेगी. द thing which you are saying is how to refill it, how to be in your feminine element, जिससे कि आप आई थिंक उस चीज को बैलेंस कर पाओ. या फिर व्हाट कैन बी अ बेटर वे ऑफ सेइंग इट कि हाँ, मुझे उस वर्ल्ड में एग्जिस्ट करना है, मुझे अपने फेमिनिन वाइब्रेशंस रेज करने हैं, जिससे कि मैं उस वर्ल्ड में नॉट जस्ट सर्वाइव कर पाऊँ, थ्राइव भी कर पाऊँ, राइट?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, that's a very relevant. Yeah, how do we do that, right? How do we do that in a practical way? But what I also want to rephrase in this is that the masculine is in us as well. The feminine and the masculine, what we are working to change within us and outside is heal the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine, so that the systems and the programming even outside of us changes. Now how long that takes depends on our collective consciousness rising, which means that every single person has to do the work as a whole that has two parts, feminine and masculine. So nurture the feminine. We spoke about a few of the things, like a few of the rituals or a way to look at nurturing the feminine. But the masculine also has to be healed, because the masculine is responsible for protecting the feminine in a healthy way, not in the misogynistic, chauvinistic way that we've seen portrayed in Hindi cinema or that men think is cool. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that is inflating the ego. That has nothing to do with what the woman needs. It's how the man needs to feel important and how he needs an outlet for his violence and his over energy and the belief systems that support him and thinking that maybe he's doing something right, but he's not. So, and why is he not? In this case, is because the output that he's creating is not harmony and not peace and not beauty. So, in my understanding and in the way that I'm communicating with you, also, we can understand. Like, what I want to share, being careful of my language, is that we want to work with becoming aware of our feminine qualities, our masculine qualities, nurturing both of them, and acting from that one unified whole, uh, with interacting with the world outside of us, because so that we are generating higher vibration, because we are in a higher vibration, we are also creating situations that, or we are only engaging in situations that also resonate with our vibration, or we find that the negative people or the people that don't understand us will slowly start to kind of just vanish. They'll kind of move away because we are not playing into that. For example, if today I decide that I'm going to start spending 3 hours every week going to pottery class because I've decided, I've discovered that I love pottery and it makes me feel very creative, and I'm fully in the moment and I feel a lot of pleasure with the clay on my hands and things like that. Right. And then I don't know, somebody in my family criticizes me for it and says, what are you doing? Such a waste of your time. That much time you could be investing in, I don't know, teaching your son something or whatever somebody's opinion is. If I engage with them, either if I believe them and I stop doing this, I've stopped nurturing myself. Again, my feminine is suppressed. But what I could do as an embodiment, because now I'm like, okay, this is what I want. My intention to do that is that because my state of being will be higher, means that I'll be able to show up in a better way with everyone that I love. I'll actually be able to give from a place of fullness because I am feeling fulfilled. So now, how do I communicate this to this person who doesn't understand? Right? That's where my masculine, now that's what you can notice or identify as your masculine speaking in a very clear, firm, assertive way, not saying, fuck you, I don't understand, I'm not going to listen to you. So, not creating conflict, right? In
Mhm.
a potentially, in a situation that could potentially be conflicting, but I'm showing up and I'm speaking my truth and I'm saying that I would like to do this because it fulfills me in this way and I see the value in this. So I have asserted myself, I have spoken my truth, I'm clean. Now if that person cannot understand, right, or if they still think it's a waste of their time, I can choose to take a step back and let them feel and think whatever they want and continue to do what I want. In
Yeah.
that way my integrity is preserved. I've understood what I need, I have tried to communicate it, now it's not being met. So that's that person's reality. I will continue to do what I do. That means my health is intact and now I'm actually feeding myself good things. Over a period of time, either that person will change, depends on now how important they are in my life and how much I care about them, right? Either they will see how much I'm blooming because of what I'm choosing to do, and they might grow in respect of me, and maybe my leading by example might affect them in a positive way. Or I might notice that they suddenly stop seeing anything, or they've just even become so inconsequential that I don't even notice them anymore because my vibration is now so different to theirs.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's the magic of healing.
Mhm. True.
So yeah.
Mhm. Okay, now to wrap up this episode, I would love it if you can give us a few affirmations because I feel, and a lot of my listeners also feel, at least the ones on Instagram, they feel that we need to constantly remind ourselves कि हाँ, this is something which I have to focus on. जैसे one of my favorite affirmations is I approve of myself. I keep saying this to myself. So it is something like that. If you have for women, like they keep saying to themselves maybe every day. So please share that also.
I think what's really coming up for me in response to this is thinking about affirming your throat chakra. Because I think as women, what I find to be the most common symptom of not being in our power is not speaking our truth for whatever reason. So it's reminding yourself every day that I am free to speak my truth. I am free to walk my path. I am a creator. I am a natural born creator. I deserve to nurture a relationship with pleasure, starting from the smallest thing to the most complex, whatever that means. But I deserve to nurture my relationship with pleasure. I I can give and receive love freely and unconditionally. As women, we also block our hearts a lot because we don't trust. So I am free to give and receive love unconditionally. I am a channel for divine source intelligence, intuition, empathy, and wisdom to flow through. Yeah, I think these are some that could be really powerful. And yeah, I would suggest, or I would invite everyone who's listening to work with these affirmations in conjunction with starting to set that artist date for themselves. So while you repeat these affirmations, it's also important to um, maybe start a journaling practice where you are keeping a record of what you are doing for yourself. What acts are you doing? Because it's not enough to just, you have to translate that into words. When you create this powerful energy within yourself by repeating this positive affirmation, right, what you're doing essentially is opening the window for a new reality to take place in which you actually following through, you're actually listening to your heart's desire. So another way of approaching this affirmation and action process would be every morning when you wake up, just sit with yourself in silence for a few moments, because I know as women again, we have so many roles that we're playing for other people. But before you put on all of those masks and you show up for others, make sure that you can carve out 10 minutes of silence for yourself, where the first question you write is, what is my heart asking for today? What does my heart want? And just spend a few moments connecting with your breath, just feeling your body. It could show up as, today I want to really go for a workout, or today I want to go for a walk, because physical movement is also very important. Or today I really want to eat that Italian meal that I've not been eating. Or today I want to go on a date with my husband, my partner, whatever. Today I want to tell someone that I really like them. Today I want to treat myself to a spa date. But if you don't make space only to hear yourself, you will never even know what you need to do. So, first of all, carve out that space. Start with the prompt, what is my heart asking for today? Because every day it will also be different. Allow yourself to answer it without overthinking it, without being like, Arey, but if I do this, then I can't do my 4 o'clock child pickup, tuition, blah, blah, whatever. Let it first come. Then let your masculine get involved to help you structure, because you will always be able to find space. You just have to first ask. So ask, and then bring your masculine into the picture and be like, okay, this is what I want. This is what my day looks like. Now, how do I fit this in? And then see it through. That's where your masculine will help you in harmony and synchronization.
Wow. The way you ended this episode is truly beautiful. So thank you so much for that. And now, Karishma, at the end, please tell
My
us how
pleasure.
can people connect with you online?
Right. So, my uh, currently, I pretty much just use Instagram and WhatsApp for all of my communication and sharing my updates of upcoming retreats, programs. So my Instagram page is called Alchemy, Allkami, which is also my mothership brand, Alchemy, a Chamber of Healing. It is a derivative of from Alchemy of Soul. Um, and it's a spin on my name, on Kali, whom I work with very strongly as a force. And it is a three-phased journey. So there's a lot of meaning and a story behind my name that I will share another time. But Alchemy is my Instagram handle. And when you connect with me there, in my bio, there will be a link to join my WhatsApp group. So you will
Mm-hmm.
always be updated of upcoming offerings, because what I share on my Instagram in relevance to announcements, I will also post on my group, which is only one way communication. So don't be worried, you will not be spammed. Only I can share, and I'm not very frequent. And through that, you will also get my numbers. So you can reach out if you have, um, questions. But yeah, this for now, this is the fastest and most efficient way to get in touch with me.
Wow. So it's been wonderful talking with you, Karishma. And thank you so much for being on Little Fixes and for giving us your time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for channeling this intention and this topic. It's like I said earlier, it's so close to my heart. It's something that I am growing in, learning. I'm such a curious student, and I so feel the force of the feminine, and how important it is to create the world we all want, a more compassionate world where our children will be safe, and we will also feel safe in our bodies again, safe enough to breathe, to feel, to understand what it means to be human. So thank you for the invitation and for hosting this space so that this transmission can come through. And yeah, lots of blessings, lots of love.